Hey, it's Jason from Bohemia Bees, and it is definitely spring around here on the eastern shore of Maryland. And we're de-wintering colonies. So we're taking apart the colonies from our winter, getting them cleaned up for spring. One of the things you need to do is make sure that if you've already fed, they probably started to build some comb inside their mountain shim. If you wrapped your hives, make sure you unwrap them, things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this colony. The steps to de-winter a colony are pretty straightforward. You're going to naturally need to take a look at what you have underneath the little smoke will help in the entrance, and underneath I always go back and underneath the lid a little bit. So that'll get them calmed down. We're going to crack our lid here and take a look. Usually work hives from the back. I just happen to be working it from the front because I have my wind block still up that I have to take down. So we're going to try to make this quick. But underneath the lid, we've got some remnants from winter. So a little bit of sugar from there, a little pollen patty, good amount of bees in here. Let's go ahead and clean it up. One thing you can do is do a quick tap, get some of the bees off of the collar. Make sure the queen's not up in these little bits of burr comb. I see eggs in them, so I definitely think she's been up here laying. I do not see the queen though, so that's what I'm keeping a lookout for. I don't want to squish her by accident, but there's an eggs in here, which means that that's a good sign that she's here. So we're going to take our lid off, and we're going to go ahead and start to take it apart. So all right, so let's go ahead and pull the comb off that we just pulled out. We're going to pull our shim. I might have glued that down a little bit. Start to get some of these remnants from winter off here. Not to get too much of the sugar break up, I'm just tossing that out into the grass so I can, the rain will break that up. I'm doing as much as I can to clean some of these top bars off before I dig into the, because once I start digging inside, I don't want to do too much cleaning off the frames right now. We're just trying to understand what we have here. We have, naturally I see, if we kind of look at this from an inspection perspective, we have both my kids over here without bee gear on. Guess they're braver than I am. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 frames of solid bees, and there's some bees activity over on the other side. We're going to take a look and see what type of activity we got. Apologize for the camera movement. We're just trying to get you in a good position so you can see. Start with that outside frame. Pull that one up to give you some room to move the other ones. And this one is empty, pollen on the outside and pollen on the inside. So there's a lot of pollen in this frame. No nectar stores, no bees. So let's take a look and see what else we got. Pollen in that one, a little bit of nectar stores over here, very little bees. Lots of pollen stores, that's a good sign. I might checkerboard a few of those. Okay, we got a little bit more nectar stores on here. It's a pretty rough looking frame. I might replace that one with a different one. Pretty rough looking frame. It's a little heavier, lots of nectar stores in here. A little bit more bees. It's definitely heavier. Got some drone comb down here, and I'm going to clean off. Make sure they make new comb. Just another way to kind of organize what they're doing. Pretty rough and crude on that one. That'll give them something to build out on. I'll put this one over here as well. I'm looking for a queen to make sure I don't get a queen. Heavy nectar and pollen, nectar and honey frame. These are kind of erratic. I'm hoping we got a queen. I'm not seeing one, but I did see eggs up top, so that tells me we had a queen. That's 50% bee coverage. That's what you want on every single frame. People always say, well, how do I know if I have 50% bee coverage? There's our queen right there. She's right here on the end. If you can see that, and try to push her to the middle. She's trying to escape. There she is. Right there in the middle. So our queen is in here. We're going to put her down here. I know which one she's on. And I'm going to move across and take a look and see if we got, okay, good. More of a better sign. Cap brood, larva in all stages. I've got bees covering it. Brood on that side as well. Cap brood, larva in all stages. Some nectar and honey. What do we have here on this frame? We've got a full frame, or at least a frame of cap brood, larva in all stages in the middle. We had some young bees working it, so they must have just hatched out. There you go. There's a nice solid brood pattern. Look at that. That's pretty nice looking right there. There's a couple spots. Could be where they hatched out or the cells were not perfect enough, but it looks like there's larvae in each one of those cells, though. That's a good solid frame. She's doing a good job. So we'll put that back. Take a look at what we got here. Bees on that one. Lots of pollen. That's wonderful. And a frame with just nothing. Okay, so I'm actually going to replace 2 or 3 of these frames just because I don't like them very much. There's lots of nectar in there. Take our pollen frame that we had, slide it to the outside. Put our nectar right after that. I'm going to separate the box, clean up the bottom as well. A slatted rack for those that use slatted racks. And all I'm doing is really just cleaning up the bottom board a little bit from the winter. Put my slatted rack back on. I'm gonna go grab 2 frames and I will be right back. Okay, so I've put my box back on my slatted rack, all cleaned up. I've got these brood frames where they're full of brood. I'm moving them to the middle. So just sliding them over. And one thing I'll do is take and checkerboard these frames so that there's access to honey on a little bit on these, and there's enough that they can draw that side out. This side has some nectar and drawing frame on it. I'll put that right in the middle. Tighten it up. We'll put that pollen stores right close to that, and the other pollen frame in here as well. All right, now we've got all the frames nice and tight, cleaned up, ready for spring. All right, that's all we've got to do. We'll put the lid back on, and then we'll continue to check the rest of our colonies. But that's how we clean up a hive from winter and get it ready to for spring. Probably another week. We'll put a super on it once the nectar flow really starts getting to go, and we want them to start to fill some of the bottom with nectar. We were just feeding about the week or so last week, so we'll pull those buckets off here shortly, and the nectar flow will be in full swing, and we'll definitely let them use proper nectar to fill their honey supers. That's all I have. We'll continue to monitor these colonies for swarming, as well as any other types of pests and the health and general overall size of the colony. Thanks for watching here, Bohemia Apiary, where beekeeping is definitely more than a hobby. It's an obsession.